Neurology, what happens in the brain. We could spend all day just talking about this topic alone, and we're going to touch on it this much. And I'm only going to narrow it down to the most meaningful part. Not what actually happens in the brain chemistry, but the part that's relevant for our teaching. And that is meaningfulness. Okay? So, neurological research tells us that human beings learn best when our emotions are involved at a heightened level, but not too heightened. So we were talking earlier about spectral thinking, right? Things happen along a spectrum, not just good, bad, black, white, all, nothing. So this is a spectrum of emotion right here. On one end is underwhelm. I'm bored, I'm falling asleep, I'm having a hard time keeping my eyes open. And here's overwhelmed. I'm laughing so hard I'm peeing my pants, and I forgot to wear Depends today, right? Or I'm 3 years old, and I'm so emotional about it that I've lost complete control, and I'm throwing a temper tantrum. It's not a bad thing, it's a human thing, but it's a state of overwhelm, emotionally speaking. The place in the middle is about where my level of emotion is when I'm walking through the grocery store, pushing my cart and putting items into it, somewhere in the middle. The sweet spot for learning is right over here, the desired level of heightened emotion for maximum learning. So here's the big point about this, and it goes back to play again, right? If we want children to learn something in any of those developmental domains, if that's our goal, we have to make sure that what we're doing is meaningful to them because their emotions will be heightened just enough that they'll care enough about it. So when the gentleman back there was asking about the spider activity, I said, well, it depends on if you're doing spiders because it's S week or you're doing spiders because you found a spider and you've all been excited about spiders. That goes back to the meaningfulness part, right? If you're doing spiders because it's S week, their emotional level is maybe down here somewhere because you're doing spiders, but some of them really care about princesses. But sorry, we're not doing princesses. You have to do a spider because we're all doing spiders. But if you're doing spiders because we all found a spider and so we're reading books about spiders and we have a pet spider in our classroom and we're pretending to be spiders, my emotions are up here. And I'm going to learn a lot more. Not just about spiders, but for me as the educator, I can put in there, if my goal is literacy, the phonemic sounds in spider. We can talk about the colors in spider. We can problem solve and predict how they move and why they move. I can hit all of my disciplines, literacy, science, math, all sorts of things, just by keying into what's meaningful to them, what produces a heightened level of emotion. Does that make sense? So, forgive me, there's a lot of text up here. Activities which tend to produce less emotional investment for young children include memorizing facts through the use of flashcards, writing in workbooks or on worksheets, repetitive writing of letters, and coloring in coloring pages. These activities are not bad for kids. You've heard me say that, right? It's not good or bad. It's just that if we're spending a great deal of young children's time on passive pursuits, just sitting and holding a crayon, we're just simply not maximizing their learning potential. It's that simple. Human beings' emotions tend to be heightened when we actively sing, dance, make music, pretend, explore, discover, experiment, invent, build, and when we express ourselves creatively, artistically, about the subjects that are important or meaningful in our hearts and minds.